We're back once again with some more talks covering a variety of topics this time. We went from Showmatches through the explanation of Vorthos, the in-game economy, and a variety of other things, all on one of the recent Phobies streams from January 2023. Now, before we get into anything, I of course have to let you know that I am part of the content affiliate program for Phobies. That means that the Phobies team does give me coffee for producing Phobies content. Now, these are my unfiltered thoughts, so take that as you will, but let's get into it. But yeah, Chad, I'm trying to see if I can get these show matches going, or set up a Phobies team format based off of kind of what StarCraft and Warcraft do. For both scenarios, both the team and the show matches, although the team could be a show match thing, like clan war sort of thing. But the big problem is I got to talk to the devs and find out what they're willing to do on, say, a weekly basis. Or something. I think if it's only monthly, that's not enough. I don't think people are going to be interested enough. I don't think people are... viewers, I'm talking about. I don't think even the players would be interested enough to participate in something that infrequent. Understandably, they probably can't offer, you know, a huge amount of compensation or anything like that. But at the same time, if there isn't something valuable enough to say, hey, this is worth it to me to compete, why would you do it, right? So I'm not really sure what the answer is yet. We were talking about it a little bit last night, but it comes up every stream, and I may just literally make it a segment every stream to explain that the economy in Phobies sucks. It's my biggest complaint about the game, and I think it's going to have long-term repercussions, both for the current player base, the future player base, the hypothetical player base, that sort of thing. Because even if you get to the point where people are excited to play Phobies, it's like, hey, did you hear about this new game? Won't be new by then, but you get what I mean. Like, have you heard about this cool game, Phobies? It's going to be like, well, yeah, but every person's going to turn around and go, it's great, but it's super pay to win, or it's just impossible to get stuff, or a combination thereof, or similar things. And I don't know how they fix that in, say, 2024. Like, well, I have no idea what the game plan is to correct that sort of problem in 2024. Because by then, I would think it's way too late. I just legitimately don't know how you solve that problem. So the challenge becomes, how do they continue to function as a business without having these sort of issues? And I honestly don't have the answer. I legitimately don't have the answer. I don't see how they solve this sort of thing. If I did, I'd be making a lot more money for probably from a lot of different companies because I would have the answer. Because it's not as though Phobies is the only one in this position. Give everyone all units and remove levels. Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that, Anton. Or the other part of that statement. I think the answer, truthfully, is... like, if somebody demanded an answer right now, the answer to me is cosmetics. That's how most free-to-play games really make their money. Now, granted, I think Dota, you get all the champions for free. I'm not sure. League, I know you have to unlock them. You could unlock them all for free, but it would take, like, 6 lifetimes. And then you could buy them. But then it's buying cosmetics and other stuff that goes on your accounts. Smite allows you to buy all the champions for a one-time fee, and then you buy skins. There's a variety of other games that have similar things where it's, you basically get the game. The answer is play until you catch up, to be honest. They're not going to change it. Well, they're going to do catch-up events, but I don't think they're ever going to... like, I would not bet on them meaningfully changing it. But that is a problem for the game. Like, that is a thing, and I'm confident they've had this conversation. They wouldn't tell me, but there's no way this conversation didn't come up of, well, what do we do in the middle of 2023 when we're onboarding new people and everybody, air quote, like, I will probably be around stress level 100 by, I don't know, April, March. maybe not that quick, but we'll say by the summer, right? I'll be close to 100. A number of people in chat will probably be over stress 100. A majority of the player base, well, maybe not. I'm going to say a majority, but I don't know if it's true, will be in Sum of All Fears floating around there. Does it really make sense you need some way to close this gap, both for people straight up coming in through heebie-jeebies and the people that are trying to, like, they got into Sum of All Fears and wham, they're just hitting people that are level 100, level 100, level 120, level 130, 100, 100, 95, 130. You know, like, it's going to be bad. And I don't think the answer is matching people with stress level, because guess what? The people who started playing the game last year at launch, that have been playing it religiously, really love the game, but they just happen to suck, they will be at level 100 because Alien Engineer is. Now, I don't know how many people like that there are. I don't troll through the ladder. We could look. But I don't think it would be unreasonable to have these people that are in the 70s and 80s, 60s, pushing up closer to 100. Or even then, if you're stress level 80 by this summer, the summer of 2023, this is one of the reasons I don't agree with pairing people via stress level, because there's plenty of people that are just mediocre at this game. And I'm not saying that in an insulting way. It's just, you are not the Alien Engineer of this game. Most people are going to say, yeah, I'm not on that level, right? But if you play the game enough, guess what? And you log in every day, you're going to level up. Why should you get paired with only the Alien Engineers? Like, that's not reasonable. It should be based on how many games you win and lose. But the problem is that it's going to introduce problems. I know that's redundant. The challenge is, because of the problems introduced, this is a better way to phrase it, how do you fix some of these problems? And look at this. We got people at stress level 100 down here. There's a reason that they're not ranked up with Alien Engineer. And there's a reason that people that are below level 40 are pushing Sum of All Fears. Like, there has to be an answer, and that's why I really want to push events. If the game survives for longer, like 2025, there'll be a ton of players at super high account levels. Probably some level 30 Phobies. Good luck beating that. Yeah, you're just not going to. Alien Engineer is the best player in the game. It's possible. I honestly have no idea. That's part of the reason why I want to do this stuff, because here's the thing. And this is not intended to insult Alien Engineer or anyone else at the ladder. Top of the ladder, that is. The ladder is meaningless. There is basically no functional difference between rank 1 on the ladder and the last ranked person in Sum of All Fears 1. You could be the top of Sum of All Fears 3. There is no meaningful difference between Hoploy right now and Mr. Irrelevant at rank 1000, who just squeaked into Sum of All Fears 3 when the season ends. Or Sum of All Fears 1, rather. Yes, there's a lot of points in between them. Odds are Hoploy or whoever, Smiley, Alien Engineer, Dios, whoever happens to be at the top of that moment, because it's usually the rotating cast of the same characters towards the top. Anda, obviously, as well. These people are up here for a reason, and they are consistently up there for a reason. I don't think there's any reasonable way you can say that Hoploy, Smiley, Alien Engineer, like, which one of these players are better than the other. I don't think there is right now. You can make an argument that, oh, well, Hoploy is worse than Alien Engineer because they have 30 levels on them. But we don't know that because the only data we have is when they have 30 levels on them. Even if they square off against each other, that's not necessarily good because there's too many mitigating factors here. But that's the thing, Anton. It's like, they may make the least mistakes because it doesn't matter. Like, if you didn't know who I was, because you obviously have an idea because you're in my stream, right? But if you didn't know who I was, and you ran into me in async, you would think I'm arguably one of the worst players in the game, because I just do the dumbest things possible. But it doesn't matter. Like, that's the thing. There's too many people like me, or that are not that good, that are skating by on levels, or other factors, allowing people, because I see Hakune's point about people getting these win streaks, it depends on time of day and who you're playing. Yeah, if all the games are against, if Alien Engineer is constantly playing Hoploy every single game, and I mean, we can go to their profile and see, like, who are they playing against? So this is Hyper Eat, this is Dios, Hyper Eat, Hoploy. I don't know who this is. Don't know. I mean, I recognize this name because they just signed up. Hakune, don't know. Smiley, Hyper Eat. This name is familiar, but Smiley, don't know. Marshall, I run into a lot, but don't know. We'd have to, like, get an output of the whole season, basically, for each of these players, and probably across multiple seasons, to compare it. Are they better than other people? Yes. But if we're comparing Alien Engineer to any other person that's in this top 10 at the end of any given season, I don't think you can truly quantitatively define this person is better than that person right now. I think you could put together an argument, but I don't think it's an argument that is, yes, this is a definitive assessment. But yeah, that's part of the reason why I want to do these show matches, is I think it is exciting. It is fun to watch these storylines. Tournaments, I think, are good for this. I think that even if it was a one-off show match between Alien Engineer and insert somebody, whoever it happens to be, who cares? You put somebody up against them and you just have them go head-to-head, and it's like, okay, this is a cool thing to watch. They specifically are at, because here's the draw right now for these events, this idea. These are going to be at level 1. And that's why, as I said earlier, there's other ancillary reasons that I want to run it for selfish purposes. But I think it's beneficial for both the devs and the community to see these things. To say, yes, this Gonzo is a problem. Here is why. Here's how... Because if we do a best of 5 and all 5... It goes to 5 games and all 5 games both players use Gonzo, what does that tell you? Especially if we see that across multiple series. Or the answer is, hey, everybody complains about Gonzo, but Alien Engineer answered in this way and crapped on it. Is that going to happen? I have no idea. I guess we'll find out. That's why they play the game. It isn't just simply all up here ahead of time. Eventually, you have to sit down and play the game and see. You have to actually be able to perform whatever it is that people claim will happen. So that's why I think that it'll be beneficial both for quelling some of the wailing, hopefully. Because if there's a balanced discussion about, oh, well, Cerberus needs to get nerfed, it's too good. Okay, well, these guys didn't even use it. They are at the top of the ladder. They're clearly the best players. Tell me why you think Cerberus needs to be nerfed, and they don't even use it. Now, that goes back to other arguments of, okay, well, where are you on the ladder? What is your collection level? What is your stress level? Because those are factors that are relevant. But it also, again, will be data for the devs, even if it's a very small sample set, to say, hey, in 4 best of 5 series between all top 10 ranked players, 100% of games had Gonzo, or insert whatever Phobie. Like, that's gotta tell them something, right? I hope. Because that's the thing you can't do with a machine, necessarily. If you have a small enough sample set where it's like a sample size of 1, basically, a machine isn't necessarily going to be able to look at that and go, okay, this is a problem, we need to fix this. A human being can look at the board state that happens from that small sample size and intuit or infer other things. Now, that could obviously lead to poor intuition, poor inference, but we have to have faith in the devs that they are able to look at this and go, hey, that is good or bad. That is inside or outside of our vision for the game of Phobies. Again, small sample size, but it's something. And we could get information from the players after the match, because it's not just, hey, what about this random ladder game? And it's like, oh, well, I was pooping. And the other person's like, yeah, I was on my commute, so we were just doing whatever. Or this was a quest game, or this was whatever. I just unlocked this Phobie and I wanted to use it. I don't know that we can necessarily point to, say, the first few games because of exactly what Hakune is saying now. I was about to say something, not bad sushi, but I wouldn't be surprised even the best players under these circumstances when they are trying to be serious that they wouldn't try something wacky just to be like, well, what if I pull off the cool play against insert person? How cool would that be if I finally get like a high five to connect with the heart and that's how I win the game? Or, oh my God, if I manage to beat Alien Engineer with a Mildred, how cool it, like sometimes people get caught up in the danger of cool things. Everybody's susceptible to it. Is it likely they're going to go for Mildred? No. How cool would it be if one of them did and won? That'd be awesome. I expect, it depends on how serious they want to take it. And the way I would run the event is I'm going to tell them, hey, pretend this is like $1 billion is on the line. There's really only going to be like some amount of coffee or something. But, you know, try and play it serious. Play to win. And we'll go from there. I don't know how this will play out. I don't even know if it'll materialize, but I want to do this. And I've been asking about it in my Discord because I want feedback from the top players to tell me, well, what do I need to petition the devs for to make this worth your time? Now, the other part of this is long-term. I would like to run enough of these that we could say, hey, what if we banned Gonzo? And I don't want to do what people challenge me to do. Oh, you can use dimensionals and mechanicals, but you can't use this, and you can't use this other type, but I can use it. Like, no, that's insane. It's just silly. It's fine when people challenge me with that. It's another thing when we're requesting people do stuff. It would be, hey, Gonzo is banned. Neither player can use it. Just so we could see what the world without Gonzo is like, and what do players and how do they adapt to it. This is a more esoteric discussion. There is no Vorthos in chess. Like, that's not a thing that exists. So for people that aren't familiar, just for the sake of everybody, the idea of Timmy, Johnny, Spike are psychographic profiles for what type of player you are. If you're a Spike, you're a hyper-competitive player, you want to win, you care about how to win, and not necessarily, I'm doing a cool thing, I'm doing fun things, I'm trying a variety of things. No, the goal is winning. You can think tournament players. Johnny is the player that wants to put together cool combos. They want to try cool stuff. It may never work, but that one time where they get to do the super cool thing, that's what they live for. Combo decks or interesting combinations. Timmy is, I want big monsters. I want big dinosaurs that go smash and crush things. That is the absolute pinnacle of big dummies that punch stuff good. Now, Vorthos, and I think Melvin was the other one, are kind of related, but Vorthos is, you could be a Timmy, a Johnny, or a Spike, but then you are drawn by the Vorthos of a given thing. So in Phobies, there is an element of Vorthos. You can get attached emotionally, for lack of a better way to put it, to a Phobie. You just personally really like Snowball. You think Snowball is the goodest boy to ever good boy, and it's awesome. Or you could hang out in my stream and scream bees every time I play a Jin Sting, and you think it's hilarious because you just think Jin Sting is really cool. Or it just so happens that for whatever reason, you have weird dreams and funny dreams about Charon. All right, you do. Congratulations. But you just get attached to these sort of things, and that's fine. It's the story, the lore, the art, the combination of all these things that draws you into a game. That is a big draw for Phobies. It can also be a turnoff if you don't like whatever the game happens to be offering. The problem is that, well, not problem, but the comparison is, chess doesn't have that. It's like, yes, I like the horsey piece. Like, there's nothing there unless you buy a novelty chess set, I guess, where it happens to be carved into characters of something else. So you could try and become try and force certain strategies, certain Phobies, aka like what I do with Russell, because you want that Phobie to work. You don't really do that in chess. Chess is the epitome of a spiky game, in my opinion. You can try and force a Johnny scenario, but there is no Timmy, and then there is no real Vorthos for it. So it's difficult to engage on those sort of levels. Like, that isn't just that's not a thing the game offers. That game offers. Phobies is currently becoming chess in part. Some people have to accept and play with it or around it or use credit card. That's it. I mean, Phobies is not becoming that. It always was. Phobies is a hyper-deterministic game. There is no variance other than the credit card element, which is stress level / general levels. That is the variance, including the collection piece. Otherwise, the game is super deterministic. There are good or bad strategies, and that's something people, I agree, have to come to terms with, where on a given map, certain phobies will be good and certain phobies will be bad. And similarly, the interaction between certain phobies. So if your opponent opens A and you try and go B, you may lose to their A. Like if they play rock and you play scissors, you're going to get crapped on. But if you play paper, they need to answer with scissors. And then you need to answer with rock. And the positioning and all of those elements play into it. It's the way it goes. And the game has, as far as I can tell, always intended to be that. But if people don't recognize that, and I know they don't, because people complain about, well, why am I seeing the same phobies all the time? The only real way to mix that up is through maps, given the current system, given the approach that we've seen from the devs. The other opportunity, or other option, is that the devs take a more MOBA-esque approach and then just completely upend the entire game by throwing crazy changes to the phobies out there with each patch. And I think that would do an enormous amount of harm to the community for a variety of reasons. And I hope they don't go that route. I don't think they will, but I hope they don't. So, the idea of big things, as Akune points out, the big things tend to just, if you're playing the game quote-unquote properly, they won't hit the map very often. They shouldn't. But in most games, most people are not playing optimally, so they're going to hit the game a lot. And big, splashy, fun, high-cost things are exciting for the game, both when you acquire it, when you get to use it, you get to show it off, then the other person gets jealous, and like a lot of people benefit. A lot of people benefit. However, I agree with Akune. If they straight up did not, and I've talked about this before, if the devs straight up did not add anything to the game ever again as far as new phobies, I would be absolutely fine. However, it would be very bad, in my opinion, for the game. For this reason. Most people are not me. I mean, by definition. But most people don't share that opinion as me. They want new toys. They want new shiny things. They want to see, and I personally do want to see what the dev team can churn out, because they have some very unique designs among the existing phobies. However, if you don't have those new unique designs, you don't have the new carrot to chase, even if people still haven't acquired everything. It's just the fact of the matter is, oh, well, when Full Disclosure rolled around, how often did you see Repeller? How often did you see any of the new Full Disclosure phobies? And the same with Carnival. The chance of seeing these new things, the variety, is what is keeping most people coming back. They like the customization, they like the uniqueness, and that does directly contradict what we were saying earlier about the game being highly deterministic, and that there probably are best strategies, best openers, best counters, etc. on a given map, given things are within a certain level. Those are at odds, and there's really not much you can do about it, because over the long haul, everybody will figure those things out, and they'll become meta, and then people will be upset. That's why, as I've mentioned many occasions, maps are the answer. You have to design and create maps that encourage different phobie usage, so when this thing comes back in, it's, okay, now I can use this phobie. This thing, because then people are going to play games through Arena, play games through Async, they're going to queue up, and even if they, oh, this map, it's always this sort of stuff, it's going to bother people less, because the next game they're going to get a different map and it's going to be a different set of stuff. It might still bother people, but it will bother them less than if we were playing on a chessboard and it was, all right, this is forever the pieces that get used, and basically the rest of the collection might as well not exist.